Welcome back to Stateside Veterans. Appreciate you being here today. If you could take a quick minute and hit that like and subscribe button, you can do it really easy by hitting the chevron, the little logo located in the corner of the screen. I'd really appreciate it. That's the ask. Um, that helps me get this information out to the veteran community. It helps improve YouTube's algorithm. So again, the ask is just to hit the little chevron, the logo for Stateside Veterans, and subscribe. Today, we are going to talk about a very unfortunate situation. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard of this happening, but it just keeps coming up, guys. And it's something that needs to be fixed because it's inherently not fair. So what we're going to talk about is the VA recouping payments because they feel that they were improperly issued. So we're going to go into an article today from military.com. It's hot off the presses. I want to give credit to the article's author, Patricia Keim. I'm going to post a link down below if you want to read the full article. But the title here is VA's threat to withhold disability checks over decades-old separation pay surprises vets. How many times have you heard, or how many people out there have had a letter arrive in the mail from the VA or some other government agency saying, hey, you've been overpaid. We are going to withhold pay from you, and that's that. You know, you can appeal, but it's always very directive in nature. This is the facts. A lot of times, or probably in the vast majority of cases, they don't take any time to reach out to you ahead of time and get your side of it and establish the facts. So this is a particularly troubling story. I'm going to continue here. In 1990, Major Raymond Thomas learned that he was not selected to become a lieutenant colonel. Having been passed over twice, he left the Air Force at 17 years and 10 months. For his efforts, he received $30,000 in separation pay. So he didn't get to the 20 here, guys. Got passed over a couple times, just wasn't going to get to that 20-year finish line and decided to part ways at almost 18 years. I continue. More than 30 years later, Thomas is now rated at 100% disabled by the Department of Veterans Affairs. After receiving his disability compensation, he is being asked to pay the federal government back minus taxes. So think about that for a minute here, guys. This is an individual that, 30 years has passed, is now being asked to pay back a significant sum of money to the government, really through no fault of his own. At 75 years old, living in a recreational vehicle pulled by a Ford F-450 paid for with his disability pay, Thomas was stunned to receive a letter from the VA saying his $3,737 a month check would not be coming for future payment, and future payments would be zeroed out or docked. I fail to comprehend how or why they intend to cut me off for several months without even negotiating a lesser, more survivable monthly contribution. I also fail to understand why it took the VA 34 years to come up with this. Why now? Thomas wrote in an email to military.com shortly after receiving the letter in March. Let's think about that here, guys. 34 years has passed. And now the VA is showing up at his doorstep via letter and saying, you're not going to be getting your disability pay, something he is surviving off of because of something that happened 34 years ago. This is going to have an impact on his life. And this is something that could happen to any one of us. So it just strikes me as an inherently unfair approach. I mean, is there not some sort of a litmus test before these things become sort of moot? They're no longer, something that the VA can go after. It just, doesn't seem right. And, this is something this guy has to live with now and deal with. By law, the VA is prohibited from paying disability compensation to veterans who received voluntary or involuntary separation pay from the Defense Department until the money is recouped. While the VA has been required to recover money since the 1940s, many veterans, such as Thomas, are unaware of the prohibition on concurrent receipt, also known as double dipping. And some, like Thomas, are finding out decades later. So that could really affect any one of us. Thomas, who goes by the call sign Bear, Bear first received disability compensation in 1996, rated at 10%. That $100 a month gradually grew as he subsequently received higher ratings for his cardiovascular and pulmonary illnesses. In 2018, he was awarded 100% disability, but still wasn't aware that he would be required to reimburse his separation pay. It wasn't until March, after he had been receiving more than $3,000 per month for 6 years, that he learned that he owed $26,000 to the federal government. At the turn of the century, I was about 40% disability, making an amount where they could start taking money. I could have afforded it then. According to the RAND Corporation, 79,000 veterans were required to pay back various types of separation benefits from 2013 to 2020. Last year, 9,298 veterans were required to pay the VA, according to data provided by the VA to military.com. So think about this. This is not an isolated incident here. This is a situation where almost 80,000 veterans are having money clawed back. Now, I'm not saying that this isn't valid. I'm not saying that there isn't a good reason why, in a lot of cases, this money needs to go back to the government. The law is the law. What I'm concerned about here, guys, is process. In this particular case, this gentleman had received money 34 years ago. He, over time, experienced a worsening of his service-connected injuries and illnesses, and he went from 10%, as the article states, to 100%. So his benefits have gone up significantly, and that amount of money for him, particularly at age 75, whereas his earning potentials are diminished due to his age and his health. It's something that he lives off of. I mean, he's living in an RV, guys. So the VA comes along, they send him a letter, and they say, "Guess what? 34 years ago, you were paid some money you weren't due, and we're gonna take it from you right now." So it just strikes me as a really unfair and unreasonable way to treat somebody that gave 17, almost 18 years of his life to the military. I'm going to read just a little bit more, and then we can wrap this up. Earlier this month, NBC News reported on 3 of those veterans. Like Thomas, they faced financial hardship as a result of the Veteran Administration's effort to claw back money. One Army veteran named Vernon Reffitt also received $30,000 in the early 1990s to leave the service, and learned just recently that he needs to pay back the money. That's wrong. You can't just up and take it back, Reffitt told an old news outlet. Now, I'm going to disagree with them. They can and they will. Is it fair? Is it right? Comment below, but it doesn't seem like that to me. VA Press Secretary Terrence Hayes told military.com that there has not been a concerted effort to increase recoupment efforts at the VA. Data provided by the department shows that since 2020, roughly 8,500 veterans have faced repayment each year, less than 1% of all VA disability pay recipients. It is part of the normal legal required process during completion of the initial claims application, which asks the claimant if they'd received a separation or bonus and the amount received. So let's read that again here, guys. It is part of the normal legal required process during completion of the initial claims application, which asks the claimant if they received a separation bonus and the amount received. Now, I don't know what the individual in this article put down, but if we're talking about getting money back from information that was provided on an initial claim 34 years ago, that's way, way too much time to have elapsed for the VA to do their due diligence. It's just not reasonable. So I wanted to bring this to your attention, folks. What I'm trying to communicate today, and what I want to bring to your attention, is the VA is going to decide, kind of at their own behest, what right looks like. And sure, they're going to say they're following the law. Sure, they're going to say that, this is money rightfully due back to the taxpayers. But is it? I mean, after 34 years, is it really fair to go to somebody who's living in an RV towed by his truck and say, guess what? We're going to take your disability compensation away from you because of let's be honest, probably a clerical error. I don't think there was bad faith on either the VA's part or the recipient's part back in the day. and we're just gonna fix things that way. That's not fixing things, guys. That's taking a situation that is, where there's some data inaccuracies, where there's some incorrect paperwork, and making somebody's life a whole lot worse. So wanted to bring this to your attention. Scroll through the whole article down below. Again, please, the ask here is to hit the like and subscribe button. You can do the subscribe right there, and we'll keep this information coming. You guys have a great day.